Make sure you like, subscribe, share this out. We are getting so much great feedback. My favorite comment thus far was over on the Facebook page where somebody said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I've agreed with Lucretia on every single thing tonight." So I love the conversation that we're having. I really thank everybody for your participation. This show is about you, about serving the community, and we really want you to pay that back by making sure you like, subscribe, share. We want 1,000 likes on the video on all platforms. We want Roland to get back and be like, "Dang, y'all put up them numbers up there. Trying to be Luka Doncic, 60-point triple doubles. That's what we're doing." Just like the video. That's the most urban thing I'm going to say all day. All right, we got to get back to Jackson, Mississippi. As you know, there have been water issues in Jackson for the last several years. Like many other parts of the country, Jackson was hit by frigid temperatures during the bomb cyclone last week, causing water mains to break. Many parts of the city experienced little to no water pressure. Jackson is still under a boil water advisory currently. In November, the U.S. Department of Justice reached a settlement with Jackson and it filed another complaint over Jackson's alleged mismanagement of the water system. Joining us now to discuss is Councilman Aaron Banks, who represents Ward 6 there in Jackson, Mississippi. Councilman Banks, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I am outstanding. Could you explain a little bit about the current state of the water system there in Jackson, Mississippi, and when do you think it will be repaired?
Yeah, currently right now, we are starting to see a pickup in pressure. One of the things is Jackson, Mississippi, being in the South, is not used to having temperatures of 8 degrees, 11 degrees, 12 degrees, 3 to 4 days at a time. And so when we have that and our water plant had not being previously winterized, it causes problems, especially when we have an aging infrastructure that's decades old, and when we've had decades of neglect from the state government, and as far as when it comes to the resources that are poured into our system.
And with that, is there any estimation on when the boil water advisory will end, or residents is simply advised, kind of stock up on bottled water and distilled water to kind of hunker in for the long haul?
Well, look, the boil water notices have lifted for certain parts of the city. There are certain parts of the city that are on well water, then there are certain parts of the city that are on surface water that come straight from the plant. The area where I stay, I've been without water since Friday. I've been staying with my parents. We've got boiled water. People have been sending boiled water. We're grateful. The mayor of Beaumont, Texas, Houston, Birmingham are different partners. But one of the major concerns for me is making sure that we have those tankers aboard, because during the holiday season, people need to flush. This is where people have company coming into the South. And, during this holiday, if you could just imagine people not being able to flush their water. And so hopefully, by tomorrow, as temperatures are continuing to warm up, we will identify those breaks, and the third-party manager, Ted, who has been appointed by the EPA, will help us find a resolve in getting this, our customers' water as soon as possible.
So it's not something that's going to get fixed, in the next couple of days. It's going to be a little while before everything gets done. Because I want people to understand, if they're going to buy water or other supplies, do I need to get enough for this weekend, or do I need to get enough for like next week?
Yeah, look, it's always best to stock up. One of the things that we've been doing consistently is providing, bottled water drives. We now do have tankers at the fairgrounds here in the city of Jackson. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure it's always better to be safe than sorry. It's always best to be over-prepared than not prepared at all. And right now, there are just a lot of uncertainties with our system because of the years of disinvestment.
Well, speaking of that, we saw the judgment in November with the Department of Justice complaint against the city. What has to happen to fix this issue going forward and really modernize the system so it doesn't, every time there's some kind of natural event, this doesn't happen?
Yeah, look, one of the first things is, show us the money. Jackson is the capital city of the state of Mississippi. If you look at the amount of appropriations from the state government to the capital city when it comes to just being able to provide our clean water with the aging infrastructure we have, it would tell you a big story. The other thing that is necessary is making sure that we can adequately pay Class A operators. One of the reasons why we saw some of the issues that we saw is because we have not been able to afford to pay Class A operators the money necessary or to hire the talent necessary to make sure that we could prevent this on the front end. And I think we see this happening, not just in Jackson, but anywhere where you look at blue cities and red states, and you look at the significant disinvestment that has taken place. We have to have a real conversation about the lack of investment that have happened over a period of time, and then all of a sudden you blame it and say, "Hey, it's the black city's fault; they're irresponsible." And so, at this time, we're grateful, we're thankful for the EPA, we're thankful for, my good friend Administrator Regan, out of DC, and Ted, who is the third party administrator. But at the end of the day, the people here in Jackson feel that it's the same old, same old. And I'm ready and I'm anxious to see a fix.
Well, it's interesting because last year we saw Congress pass and the president signed into law the $1.7 trillion infrastructure bill, and part of what they said they earmarked money for was to help the aging and crumbling infrastructure in places like Jackson, places like Flint, Michigan, etc. Has there been any help or any resources from the federal government to help for a long-term solution to the city's water supply?
Yeah, sure. So let me say this. One of the things that was very helpful was Bill, which is the bipartisan infrastructure law, which then allowed monies to go directly to municipalities. Prior to that, and I think what people have to understand is that we didn't get here overnight. We didn't get here in the past 4 years. This is decades of reinvestment. Prior to that, when there were money set aside for infrastructure that came to a state, it would come into the state coffers. The state would allocate it to either the Central Mississippi Planning Development District and to other organizations, and then it will be based on what the majority Republican House said on how that money was spent. And so then what ends up happening is you see surrounding cities, you see other people getting dynamic investments for a bill that was passed for cities like ours, for a bill that was passed for cities that have like problems like ours. And so one of the things that I think that is very important is that we need to continue to push federally that when we come to these type of bills, not just with public work issues, but also public safety issues, that there is a direct investment from the federal government directly to those municipalities, and it bypasses state, where it doesn't get caught up in a lot of red tape, so that we can put the money where it needs to go.
And with that, so the process has started, it seems like, when it comes to fixing these issues. But what are the roadblocks that are currently in place? What are the things that are holding this up? Because I think, particularly for the citizens there in Jackson, I had a lot of friends who went to college down there. We used to road trip down there from Atlanta. They just want a functioning system. So what is going to happen in order for the next step to be taken?
Yeah, look, first of all, I hope your friends all went to Jack State University, where I attended school. But, the next step is, of course, is as we are working on the water plant and making sure that our raw water screens are significant, making sure that our pumps are working adequately, making sure that we winterize our membranes at the water plant, making sure that we have the proper chemical mix and that we get staffing. We have to address the aging infrastructure under the ground. And we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of square miles of pipes from communities that were built ages ago that have older pipes. And so just imagine when you have a city where the normal flow might have been somewhere up to 80 psi. And then all of a sudden it kicks up to around 120 psi. So now imagine those pipes that are not used to that flow, they pop. Or imagine in an age where there is global warming, in an age where we do see temperatures changing. Mississippi hadn't experienced 11-degree, 8-degree weather for 2 or 3 days at a time. There's a reason why this happened. So in an age where this is happening, our systems weren't built to handle that in the past. And these are systems that were built ages ago or decades ago. And so we have to now look at revitalizing not only our systems, and at some point I think we need a new plant, but we have to look at making sure that we can deal with the type of inclement weather that we've been having, the type of flooding and unexpected weather that we're not used to getting because of other issues that are going around globally.
With that, how can people help? If there are individuals in other states who have a church or community group, they want to send truckloads of water or other supplies, humanitarian goods, what are good ways for people to help support the people of Jackson as they go through this?
Look, one of the things they could do is they could call directly to my office, 601-960-1089. They could reach out to the city of Jackson. We're not hard to find. We're online. And, bottled water, sanitizing, hand sanitizers, gloves, all of those things that will help us on the front end. Look, let me tell you something. The people of Jackson are resilient, and we appreciate our surrounding cities, Birmingham, Beaumont, Monroe. Montgomery, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia, Memphis, Nashville. I can't name enough. They have really stepped up to help us in this cause. And so continuing to send that fresh water, hand sanitizer, that type of stuff so that we can make sure that we are addressing this because water is very essential. And there have even been groups and companies that have bought in fresh food and paid for hot plates. Because in areas, specifically in my ward, Ward 6, when they don't have running water, guess what? People can't cook. And providing those plates and providing any type of necessity like that has been will be very helpful.
Here in Atlanta, the best mayor that we've had since Andy Young was Shirley Franklin, not because she built stadiums or hotels or anything else, but because she fixed the sewer system in the city. That's the least glamorous thing for politicians to do, to fix the infrastructure of a city, but that's the only thing that allowed Atlanta to grow kind of into the metropolis it is today versus what it was before she took office. Everybody loves the entertainment part. You got to get those sewers right. What's the issue coming from the state government, and why are they not prioritizing fixing the system there in the state capital? Is it because Jackson's majority black city, or are there just other things going on in the state where they are not investing in the infrastructure there?
I think a lot of it has to do with the politics of norm when you deal with red states and blue cities. Just to be honest with you, I think even in Georgia, me having the opportunity to stay in Riverdale for a minute, understanding at the time I stayed in Riverdale, it was not a black city. I understand it's a black city now. But one of the things that I think we have to come to understand the politics of it is that, they're a capital city. They got black leadership. Let them do it on their own. They don't need us. Instead of representing and saying, they're in the city of Jackson, whether they're black or not, whether they're in the capital city, whether the politics are Democrat, Republican, they are people who are citizens of the state of Mississippi. We must do what's necessary to take care of them. And part of that also, is also a burden within our community. I'll give you an example. Part of the problems that we're having with our sewage system is fog. That's fats, oils, and grease. Many communities, parents may say, I remember when I was growing up, boy, get the grease out that pan and pour the hot water or turn the hot water on, pour the grease down the sink. Well, that causes fog. That causes clogs within the sewer system. And so being able to educate, inform, and being able to spend those type of resources within the capital city to help prevent those things as we begin to mitigate those issues would be helpful. But one of the things I pray for is that we can get beyond the politics as usual and begin to say, regardless of them being Democrat, they're being a black city or what, they're citizens of the state of Mississippi, and it's our responsibility to make sure that they have adequate sewer and adequate water.
Thank you so much, Aaron Banks, City Councilman, Jackson, Mississippi. Got anything to say about Dion before we go? Hey, no, I ain't gonna do it. I'm not gonna do that to you. Not gonna do that to you. You gotta play. Be a diplomat.
All I'm gonna say is go TC.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, folks, back to our Roadblock Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot
tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.